பின்னர் HD கனடாவின் இலங்கை செய்திகள்.
தேயிலை தொழில்துறையை நவீனப்படுத்த வேண்டும் என்கின்றார் ஜனாதிபதி. போட்டிமிகு தேயிலை சந்தையில் நிலைத்திருக்க வேண்டுமாயின் தேயிலை தொழில்துறையை நவீனப்படுத்த வேண்டும் என ஜனாதிபதி ரணில் விக்ரமசிங்க அவர்கள் தெரிவித்தார். ஏற்றுமதியை இலக்காக கொண்ட பொருளாதாரத்தில் இது மிகவும் இன்றியமையாதது என கூறிய ஜனாதிபதி ஆரம்பத்தில் தேயிலை தொழில்துறையில் கிடைத்த வெற்றியை மீண்டும் உறுதி செய்ய வேண்டும் என்றும் சுட்டிக்காட்டினார். பத்திரமுல்லை வோட்டர்ஸ் எட்ஜ் ஹோட்டலில் நேற்று பிற்பகல் நடைபெற்ற இலங்கை தேயிலை தொழிற்சாலை உரிமையாளர்கள் சங்கத்தின் 32வது வருடாந்த பொதுக்கூட்டத்தில் உரையாற்றிய போதே ஜனாதிபதி இவ்வாறு தெரிவித்தார்.
Honorable the Minister, the State Minister, the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Tea Factory Owners Association, the office bearers, the main and the only sponsor, it has to be Bauer and Company, who else? And friends, I was listening to the report by your President, a survey of the tea industry today. He came out with his tale of woes. That is understandable, looking at what we have gone through this year. Now is my chance to come out with my tale of woe. Because I have taken over the Titanic after it hit the iceberg. So you can just imagine from where I have to start. Everything was down. We had declared ourselves bankrupt. But what have we got to do? First is to ensure that people can live and there is enough food to eat, whatever be the other difficulties. With this bankruptcy that we've declared, our economy has virtually come to a halt. The inflation, the bankruptcies, everything else that's happening has brought our economy to a grinding halt. How do we restart it? That's what we are engaged in. And I thought I'll explain to you the process. First and foremost, we have to conserve whatever foreign exchange we had and limit the imports so that we could get fuel and we could get fertilizer and medicine. It hasn't worked fully but initially, but now it's working much better. So that's how we started. Then as revenue dried up, we have the difficulty of paying our bills, of meeting our commitments. So we had to keep two things in mind. One is to pay the salaries of government servants, for 1.7 million people, plus service our debts. So it's within this scope that we had to begin. Now that we had declared ourselves bankrupt, the first issue was to ensure that the world will now accept us, that we have taken sufficient steps to wipe out the label of bankruptcy, which meant that we have to go to the IMF and discuss with them. Every country, every organization said meet with the IMF and come up with a plan. But we did have a plan until 2019 when we cancelled the last year. Therefore, we had to start our discussions with the IMF. We had no other option. Our growth rate this year is going to be -8%. Last year was also minus growth. This year is also -8%. Next year, it was forecast that we will be -3%. But there is one other factor which worries me. When that forecast was made, everyone thought the global economy will do well. Now all the indications are that global economy will fare bad. How will it impact? Because the rising inflations in the European and other countries means that the cost of living is going up, which in turn can affect some of our exports. Less clothing, maybe less tea, less coffee. We have to understand that. So we have to get through this year and then go into next year. So we have to manage really 2 years. Our revenue came down from 15% to 8.5%. Now they want us to get the revenue back to 15%, which I think we have to do. The time frame is 2026. I went in for a 4-year program. I didn't think we could bear the burden if we try to do it in 2 years. And it may not have been possible. And I am happy that we went for 4 years, because 2023 looks to be a bad year globally, not only for Sri Lanka. Then, if you look at 100 as 2021, at 2020 you can just imagine how much we have come down each year. So we had to first come to an arrangement, which meant raising money. To raise that money we had to tax everything, which also meant the agriculture. As someone said, if it moves, tax it. We had to come to that level. But we had no other way out. And we had to expand the tax net. I wish you could have done it gradually, but we couldn't, because we need the money. And if you look at the taxes, those who paid taxes up to 2019 got a reduction in 2019. So that's a loss of revenue. Now what we are trying to do is bring it back first to the 2019 level and add a little bit more. So if you look at the 2019, up to 2019, your taxation, and today it's one figure. But if you look at 2020, the gap seems much bigger. But the fact is that we are all suffering. It's not only tax. Our rupee has depreciated and interest rates have gone up. So it's in this context that we have to operate. Ordinary people are finding it very difficult to live. I mean, it's in that condition that we have to come back. So the first issue is to ensure that we can restructure bankruptcy. So we have to start talks with our creditors. When I first went, it was Paris Club. All were creditors from the West and Japan. But we are in a unique position that of 3 main creditors, only one belongs to the Paris Club, Japan. Other 2 are outside that, India and China. I mean, China only started dealing with bankruptcies with Zambia. I think India has it for the first time with Sri Lanka.
மறக்காம A+HD கனடா சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க.